I felt drawn to this job. My background is academic theological study, and in the process of doing my academic study, I became more aware that actually you can sit and you can do academic study and that's all, it's good and it's right and it's proper, but actually it needs to know how to land on the ground, and you need to know how to put this thinking into practice. So one of the things that I feel really inspired about for the pioneering course here is that actually we're working with people who want to put stuff into practice. I think pioneering, or people involved in pioneering, it's sometimes hard to describe or to explain, but I think it's often seeing that gap. So it's doing ministry or doing things in the gap between church and what we often feel is our regular life. And I think often people don't know what it means to feel called into that, but it often starts with people feeling some sense of dissatisfaction with what's going on in their church, or they're wanting to reach the mums at the gate, school gates, or they're wanting to see people come to Christ in their workplace or in their football ground, or whatever it is they're involved in their life. So it's often people wanting to bridge that gap and to have ideas and see things happen in those places. And I think it's often, I feel like pioneering isn't always backed or given that credibility, but there's real ministry going on in these places. It's often stuff that's just a little bit outside of the church gates. If they're taking Jesus Christ to people, then they're worth investing in, they're worth training, they're worth giving good background to, good theological understanding and abilities to reflect. And it isn't always understood because they want to do stuff with the people who are unreached by the church. But the current statistics now are that 92% of people don't go to the church. So we don't want less pioneers, we want more pioneers. I'm often think about the Apostle Paul. He spent most of his time not in the church, going around, travelling about. But he'd spent a long time being trained before he did that. And we often neglect or forget about the background of training he had. So it was out of that he was equipped to do the things that he did. One of the things we've noticed amongst our pioneer students is a lot of people act out of gut instinct or out of intuition. And sometimes when you do that, you don't always feel validated in that because it feels like it's just come from you. But our students come here and they meet other like-minded people. They meet staff that care deeply about what they're doing and want to invest in them. I've actually been really inspired to see them want to turn their dreams into reality, to really want to get to use the skills that they've got. For some of them it's musical gifts, for others it's connecting with people, for some of them it's working with youth, and they're wanting to use those to get people to meet Christ. I think that we have a model here of education that really allows that to flourish. And I'm excited about that segue between the theological training and the stuff, the practice out on the streets. So I think as you come here as a student, we're not just going to be saying to you, here you are, this is what you're doing, we want to endorse what you're doing. We also want to say, well, here's how to think even more broadly about it. Here's how to think about it even with more confidence. And not that we have all of the answers here, but theological training and thinking through this stuff actually further equips you to be better at doing what you're doing out there. And I think it's only going to grow. I think we're going to see more innovative stuff happening. So we run a number of different undergraduate programs, and at the moment you can do a certificate. We do that in a year and a term, but we're also looking at doing that in a year to make it more compatible with people's lifestyles. We do a diploma, and we're also about to launch the BA. We also have a youth stream and a families and children's stream. And we've got quite actively involved, as I've said before, in the missional entrepreneurship. So people can do that course separate from just doing the other pieces. You don't have to sign up to do the certificate or the diploma. You can just do a module. Of course, all of the courses interact and all part of the whole story. So where there's people doing pioneering, we're trying to reach that with a course. One of the things we see here at CMS is that we have people that come to us that are both non-ordained and ordained, and we train both. And we have people that are involved in ordination training and they come here and they become an ordained pioneer minister, or they may go back into the parish church but be doing more pioneering type ministry. And so if you're got people in your church that want to be involved in ordained ministry, but you can see this desire in them and you can see these giftings in them and a call on them to do stuff that perhaps doesn't fit into your regular church idea of ministry, but is a little bit out on the fringe, then we're better to send them than to somewhere that's an Anglican institution that's got a background that has known what's missions like over the last 200 years and is actively desiring to theologically equip and train people to be out there on the streets. And I think that's for us why we're excited to see ordained people coming through our programme. So for some of you, you might think, well, I've not picked up a book for years, I've not written any assignments. Some of the new students I've met, that's how they feel. And my message to you would be, this is a kind of course where we try and interact with everybody. And that's what we want more than anything, is to see you succeed, to be able to do the things you feel called to. And so if you're feeling like, well, I'd love to do this, but I don't feel good enough, or I'm not sure how I'd be able to do all of that, I say, come and give it a try. Another thing to consider is, are you doing this stuff and you want to be recognised? Do you want to be validated? In which case, this certificate gives you a validation. It comes from one of the top universities in the country. You get a certificate diploma degree from Durham University. So it may be that you've never thought about doing this course. It may be that you've never thought about doing an educational programme. But if you're out there doing ministry in the streets, if you're out there doing projects in your workplace, if you're out there doing a social entrepreneurship, then this programme equips and gives people the ability to do that, to reach more people, to have more confidence in what they're doing. And so I'm excited that we offer that we're somewhere that's doing that.